Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 79th ever Highlight Haven interview. My name is Matthew Heiserman, and today we are joined by four-star high school football recruit Zion White. Zion, it's great to have you on.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. And, right off the bat, I just want to start by asking when you first knew that you wanted to play football.
That's a good one, man. I'd probably say when I was younger, it wasn't really a more of a choice for me.
Mhm.
My parents they
Yeah.
kind of just put me in it. Like ever since
Mhm.
I was young, baby days, like 4 years old, probably. Like I started playing football, and I kind of just stuck with it.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you were first getting into football, did you go straight to flag football? Did you start with tackle football? What did that look like for you?
Yeah, it was definitely flag for a while. My
Mhm.
parents were kind of scared for me to play
Mhm.
tackle,
Yeah.
so I was just flag all the way up until I want to say seventh grade, and then seventh grade I started tackling.
And then when you started playing football, were you always a wide receiver, or were you more of a utility
Right.
guy playing all across the field?
I was actually all across. I was
Mhm,
quarterback when I was younger, and then I moved to receiver for a while. And then when I started playing tackle, I was defensive end too.
mhm. Now what would you say was your favorite position when you played more than just one position?
Definitely defensive end. I was really good at it. A
Mm,
more taller frame. I was just like getting through the D lineman and then hitting the running back.
yeah.
Sacking the quarterback. That was just like great feeling.
Yeah, 100%, and along with football, you also play basketball.
Yeah,
Did you start playing that around the same time you picked up football? Is that something
yeah,
that you
yeah.
picked up
Definitely.
separately?
I definitely say my dad's dream when he was younger was to definitely play basketball, football, and he kind of just passed that on to me. I got uncles, aunties, they all like basketball, so that kind of just passed on to me too.
For sure, and, this past season at Punahou High School in Honolulu, Hawaii, you won
Yeah,
the basketball state championship.
yeah,
Can you
state
just
champs.
can you just describe what that experience was like for you?
It was definitely surreal, man.
Mhm,
Basketball comes kind of second to me, but I train a lot still. I put a lot of effort, put a lot of work into basketball, and started the season kind of, I didn't really know my role. The year before, I was a bench player freshman year.
mhm.
So I was kind of just trying to put myself out there, just trying to like show the state kind of who I was. And then, as the season progressed, like I started getting better, the team started getting better, and then, we just kind of took care of business.
And as a dual sport athlete, can you, break down in what ways does playing basketball help you with football? And then on the other hand, how has
Right.
football helped you with basketball?
I'd say the main two takeaways, basketball, you definitely are running a lot more than football. So I say, even right now, I still train a lot for basketball just so I can have that conditioning for football.
Mhm, mhm,
And then football kind of helps with your footwork for basketball,
mhm.
especially as a receiver, your releases, all
Yeah.
that. It like gets your feet moving. So like whenever you're doing the crossovers, anything, it helps with football. I mean, it helps with basketball.
Mhm. And, on April 24th, you officially announced that you would be
Yeah.
transferring to IMG Academy in
Right.
Bradenton, Florida. Can you
Uh-huh.
just break down what went into this decision and, what you're most looking forward to with this change?
It was kind of a hard decision, especially,
Mhm,
living in Hawaii. That's my home, really love it over here. But I'd say football wise, I kind of just felt like I needed to be challenged a little bit more.
mhm,
And I also felt like the exposure is just a lot better out
mhm.
there. I have dreams of, going to a great Division 1 program in
Yeah,
college, and I feel like IMG just like they do a great job at getting your name out there. They do a great job at like playing other people who are ranked high, you know what I mean? So I got a buddy from Laie down here in Hawaii. He went
mhm,
to IMG and then he told the coach about me. So the coach kind of just hit me up and told me like, we got a spot for you down here.
yeah.
So I just went, took a little visit, and then yeah,
And I know that when you play in Hawaii, you specifically, you receive a lot of West Coast offers.
yeah,
Do you think this is kinda gonna open up the East Coast and Central as well a little bit more?
yes, that hopefully. Got a little call from Auburn, a little earlier in this month. They told me that, when I come down there, they'd be happy to see me. Hopefully, places like Missouri, Georgia, all those
Yeah.
kind of Florida kind of schools, hopefully, they come down to campus a lot, so hopefully they'll be interested in me.
Yeah, I love to hear that, and as one of the top-rated wide receivers in the class of 2027, what's one thing that you really take pride in when it comes to your play style?
I'd probably say my work ethic, more than
Mhm,
anything, like besides the play style, I kind of just I work a lot. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
even right now, I'm not practicing with my old school, but I'll just be getting working on my own. Catching I'd probably say is like my biggest thing though. Like I work on my
Mhm.
catching so much. Got a jug
Yeah.
machine at home, like 100, 200 balls a day. Just
Mhm.
trying to
Yeah.
stay consistent with it.
Now, on August 30th, 2023, you received your first Division One offer from the University of Utah. Can you just describe what it felt like to receive that first D1 offer and what was going through your mind during that
Yeah.
moment?
Yeah, it was honestly another surreal feeling in my
Yeah.
life. Man, it was crazy because we just got off a flight actually, and we're gonna play some team in San Diego. And my freshman
Mhm.
year, I want to say those are second, third game in. I never had like any highlights still yet.
Mhm.
And the coach he just kind of called me and told me like he sees potential in me and he wants to just like know that they're interested in me like a
Mhm.
future on, and he kind of just put that trust into me. It felt great to know that like all the work I had been putting in since I was just a kid, like it's kind of starting to pay off.
And as a sophomore, you've already received around 10 Division One offers from
Right.
schools such as Washington State, BYU, Oregon State,
Uh,
and California. Can you just break down what the recruitment process has looked like for you so far?
Yeah, so most of them they come down to our school during the recruiting time, and they kind of just make small talk with me, asking me questions about myself, about my family, and then
Mhm.
they just tell me that I'm still young, so it's kind of like a iffy process, but they're just
Yeah.
like we're interested in you right now. We want to extend you kind of an unofficial offer, and
Mhm.
then when your junior year comes around, like we just want you to know that we were here before everybody else.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And with all the schools you've been speaking to, are there any that you've been talking to the most or have really stuck out to you?
Um, Definitely Oregon. The Ducks, they
Mhm.
talk to me a lot. I'm supposed to be going to the camp. I want to say June 16th, I'd
Mhm.
say, or 14th. They have a camp. They haven't offered me yet, but hopefully, I can do pretty good at the camp and offer me. That's like been my dream school
Yeah.
since I was a little kid. Definitely Cal. I love Cal. I was born in California before I moved to
Mhm.
Hawaii in fourth grade, so I definitely say that Cal, because it's so close to home.
Mhm.
And then Missouri hasn't like reached out to me yet, but
Yeah.
that's like a dream school. Like I really love it over there.
Mhm. Absolutely. And out of all the schools you've received offers from, I don't know how many official or unofficial visits you've already gone
Yeah.
on, but are there any visits you'd like to try and get out to for schools that you haven't had the chance to visit already?
Yeah, I'd probably say all the schools in Florida because I'm gonna be
Mhm.
down there, so I might as
Yeah.
well. Definitely want to look at all the Big Ten schools
Mhm.
and SEC schools like Bama, Georgia. Definitely go to Oregon, UCF, Tennessee. I want to go to all those.
Mhm. For sure. And on December 6th, 2023, you received an offer from the University of Hawaii. And on
Yeah,
November
yeah,
30th, 2024, you were invited to their game against New Mexico.
yeah.
What's really stood out to you about Hawaii so far, and how much do you value distance from home when you're deciding on a school?
Um, I wouldn't really say I value it too much because life goes on, so
Yeah.
you're always gonna be able to reconnect with the people from your home. But
Mhm.
I definitely say I love them, man. Like that's
Mhm.
home. That's it's kind of where I was growing up. Growing up here, born, raised, or not born, sorry, but raised over here.
Mhm.
So I
Yeah.
kind of have like a special place for them in my heart. It's kind of a smaller school, so I don't necessarily think I'd go. But if the opportunity kind of presented itself, and that's kind of the path that I started to go down, I'd definitely go there.
Mhm. So, I mean, right now you're more just focused on being able to go to a school that is best for your development, hopefully be able to reach
Yes,
that NFL
definitely,
level.
definitely. It's kind of always been my dream to play as a true freshman. So I kind of want to go somewhere where I can still shine and not just be like put down in the back of the depth chart. But then
Mhm.
at the same time, like I know development is a thing, so it's like I'd still be very like open to going to a school where maybe I don't start, maybe I don't play, maybe I can't even work in freshman year, but like maybe I can just like work, red shirt, work my way into a starting spot, hopefully sophomore year.
And now that you're in the off season and, the spring practices and the spring game have started to settle down, can you just break down what a typical day looks like for you in terms of practicing and training?
Yeah, yeah. So I usually school just ended, so I've been waking up a little later. But
Yep.
usually, I'd wake up, work out, just go eat, drive out to one of my friends' house, just probably go to the beach or something,
Mhm.
and then I'd go train with them, just get some field work in, just like a quick 30, 40 minutes. And then
Mhm.
we'd probably just go like see a movie or go to the mall, something
Yeah.
something fun with the boys before I leave. And
Mhm.
then at night I try to get like one more lift in, or if anything,
Mhm.
I'll try to like watch a little bit of some like receiver film,
Mhm.
anybody's.
Yeah, I love to hear that. And you mentioned some receiver film. Are there any wide receivers in the NFL that you take inspiration from or try and model your game after?
Definitely Malik Neighbors. I watch him
Mhm.
like a lot. He's just like so nice with it. And then when I was a like little kid, I used to love Odell, so I still watch
Mhm.
his.
Mhm. Now, I think a player that's interesting, for you is obviously Ted McMillan because he was
Yeah,
born and raised in Hawaii as well, and then he also has a similar build. He's 6'4". I think he was
yeah,
190 pounds when he was in high school. Is that someone
yeah.
that you've kind of been following the career of so far?
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. I've been watching him, Nalo, so that's pretty close to where I usually hang out. I kind of say like that the only difference probably between me and him
Mhm,
is I think his like catching is just phenomenal.
mhm,
Like that's kind of but who I want to model my game after. So I
mhm.
kind of just been, watching him, but I wouldn't say watching him too much because I'm still, trying to be my own person. But
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I definitely watch him all the time.
Yeah, and, with just 2 years until college, what are some of the main things that you're still trying to improve before you reach that next level?
I definitely say my speed and strength.
Mhm,
I'm pretty solid catching. Route running, I'm pretty good at, if I'm being real honest.
mhm,
But my speed, I'm still pretty fast, but I want to be like burn speed, like get
yeah.
past everybody's speed. And then strength, I'm like 190 right now, but I'm not pushing too much weight in the weight room. So I've been, just trying to improve that.
And, you know, in terms of the mental side of football, are there
Right.
any pregame superstitions or rituals that you have, or maybe some kind of specific kind of music you like to listen to get yourself in the right mindset?
Um, for football, I wouldn't really say as much, but for basketball, me and my friend would like do math before every game
Mhm,
because we used to have this math class, and then every time we didn't have the math class, we would lose a game, like 3 games in a row because we didn't have the math class. So
mhm,
we would like get on the bus and like do the math packets
yeah,
before even the state championship. We filled like a whole math packet out before. But for
yeah,
football, I'd say it's a little different. Football, I get a little bit more nervous. Like those butterflies are
mhm,
like
yeah,
they start to hit. So I kind of just put on, some Rod Wave, some Young Boy,
mhm,
anything more calming. But if it's like one of the bigger games in Young Boy, just to get me like kind of riled up.
yeah, for
And
sure.
then I just kind of just like pray to God that like He
Mhm,
can just help me,
mhm,
settle down more. That's about it.
mhm. And what's one thing you don't think the average fan necessarily knows about the wide receiver position?
It's harder than everybody thinks.
Mhm,
Everybody thinks, you just go run and catch the ball, but it's kind of more of like you have to read the linebacker, you have to read the safety, you got to read the corner. There's a lot more reads than people,
mhm.
think.
And I wanna talk about the blocking aspect as well. Where do you feel like you are with blocking, and, how are you able to improve with that? Obviously, since blocking is one of the most important and I think
Yeah.
overlooked parts of being a wide receiver.
Yeah, not to sound like too cocky or nothing about myself, but I
Mhm,
think I'm a really good
yeah,
blocker.
mhm,
My dad actually came out with my highlights this year on YouTube, and there's like a
mhm,
whole like minute part of the thing is just me blocking.
yeah,
Blocking is like really like fun to me because it's like even though you're not running around, even though you're not getting the ball, like you can just go be physical and just go hit the other guy. You know what I mean? So, but
mhm,
I do think like blocking is a huge part of the game that most receivers kind of don't do. But I feel like I do that pretty well, and people kind of just like overlook it because it's like, oh, the running back is just running, like don't
mhm,
mind the receivers. But in all honesty, like the receivers are going to block that safety
yeah,
so the running back could have that, open space to run.
mhm. And w in your final 2 years playing high school football, now that you're at IMG Academy, are there any personal goals as well as team goals that you would like to achieve during these final 2 years?
Yeah, I definitely want to have 1,000 yard season.
Mhm, yeah,
Hopefully more than 1,000.
mhm,
I had a goal over here. There's this guy named Connor Vinola. He was a receiver coach actually.
mhm,
He coached me my freshman year, but
mhm,
he holds the receiving yards record in the state. So my goal was kind of to beat that. I came up very short this year. Our offensive coordinator, he kind of had a different scheme. He had more of a running scheme this type of year, so I couldn't get as many targets as I wanted to see. But I hopefully, just hope to get like a little bit over like 2,000 something in these last 2 years. I definitely want to get some more offers. But also kind of like less personal to myself. I want to win a state championship, but I don't know for IMG if it's more of a state championship because we kind of play all over.
Yeah.
But I kind of just want to go undefeated. You know what I mean? That would be great in these next two
Mhm.
years. And then besides, me and the team, I also want to see my brothers eat. All the boys I've been working out with,
Mhm.
Dane, Kais, just in name a few. I want to see them eat. I want to see them get some more offers and get their name out there more.
Yeah, I love that, and I do have one final question to ask before we
Yeah.
wrap things up. What's one random fun fact about yourself, just so the people watching can get to know you a little better at a personal level?
I'm a great fisher, man.
Mhm.
Down here, that's something we do. I go fishing like every night, every weekend.
Mhm.
That's just kind of an everyday thing for me. If football doesn't work out, I'm gonna go be a
Mhm.
pro fisher. Yes, sir.
Planning on doing a lot of fishing in Florida?
Yeah, there's a fishing club actually. I'm about to sign up for as soon as I get there.
Yeah,
Yeah, of
that's awesome. With that being said, I can't thank you enough for coming on. I really do
course, of
appreciate it.
course, I appreciate it.
Is there anything else you want to say to the people watching before we wrap things up?
No, just thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, big thanks to Zion White for being the 79th ever Highlight Haven interview guest. And as always, we will see you next time.